Are we ready? Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
I would like to go ahead and call the February meeting of the Paducah Board of Education to order. I'm chairing the meeting tonight because our board chair is on his second honeymoon. Madam Secretary, will you call the roll, please?
Sure. Dr. Koji?
Yes.
Ms. Hancock?
Here.
Here. Ms. Howard?
Here.
Dr. Hudson?
Here.
Great.
Madam Secretary, have we established a quorum this evening?
Yes, we have.
I need a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion that we approve tonight's agenda.
Motion approved by Mrs. Howard. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion seconded by Mary Hunter. Is there any question from the board? Okay. Dr. Shabli, will you please lead us in the pledge of
Do we need
allegiance?
the vote on the agenda?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I
sure.
need to do roll call.
Yeah.
Dr. Koji?
Yes.
Ms. Hancock? Yes. Ms. Howard?
Yes.
Dr. Hudson?
Yes.
Okay, Dr. Shabli, will you lead us
Yes. Will
in
you
the
stay on
pledge
the
of
board?
allegiance?
I pledge
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 3.0, Superintendent Report. Will Black will be presenting the tutoring option tonight. Will Black?
Good evening. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
All right. I'm going to share my screen here. All right. Can everybody see that?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. This evening, I'm here to share some information about how we are supporting students during the pandemic. And Dale, if you don't mind, can you mute your machine on your end? Okay, great, perfect. So tonight I want to share a little bit more information about how we are supporting students during the pandemic. I shared some of this information or some information about how we're going about supporting virtual students as well as other students. I shared information in November with you, and now since that time we've learned quite a few lessons about how best to support our virtual students and how best to support our in-person students who may be virtual a couple of days a week now. And so just to update everyone, since the beginning of the school year, we have increased the number of students who are learning in person in school. And because of that increase, we are currently on a hybrid schedule where students learn 2 days a week in person, and then the remaining days they're at home. On Wednesday, we have a day dedicated to virtual students where teachers can really focus on the students who are always virtual, answering their questions and even bringing some of them into school as needed for small group tutoring. And so I want to first say that we're very blessed to have the staff that we have working diligently to meet the needs of all of our students. This has been very challenging work. It has required around the clock teaching and messaging on the part of teachers. Teachers have really gone above and beyond. One huge indicator of their dedication is the fact that we have had to use relatively few subs, especially since January. Teachers have really, their attendance has been amazing. That's required a great deal of sacrifice, I know. And I know that that's made a big difference. The same is true of our classified staff. You know, it should be noted that right now we have, due to the pandemic, we have only 2 bus driver subs, 2 sub bus drivers. And so that means that, you know, our bus drivers are really making it happen, getting to work. Of course, with the exception if someone were to come down with COVID, they wouldn't come in that case. But we've been able to limit those cases, and really proud of our staff for holding our instruction together so consistently. I also would like to share a little bit of information before we get into academics about how our staff has been meeting students' physical needs, their nutritional needs, and the needs, their needs for, let's say, school supplies or internet. Any of those needs are being met by our food service that is delivering meals on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. This is while students are in school. They're still delivering meals each week, and on those days they're actually delivering meals, enough meals to get them through 2 days, so that obviously Wednesday's all virtual, so it requires a few more meals, but on Mondays they're delivering meals for Monday and Tuesday, and Thursday is delivery for Thursday and Friday. So even on this past Sunday, Tornado Takeout served 2,000 meals for children of all ages while they're on winter break. So they were able to provide meals for this week. And we really just appreciate our food service for going above and beyond to make that happen. Same is true for our transitional student services. The new stay van you can see pictured above allows for Heather Anderson and other staff members to go out and provide kids anything they need, whether it would be a device, an internet hotspot, food, clothing, school supplies, you name it, it is available. So we really appreciate all their efforts. But I want to focus today on showing everyone, or sharing with everyone, the extraordinary efforts of our school district in terms of meeting kids' needs. At Tillman in particular, they have devised a very effective system for intervening with students who struggle during the first semester. And so these are students who have maybe failed a few courses or more than a few courses in the first semester. Those students are now receiving regular pull-out intervention, whether it is an in-person credit recovery intervention by our staff members, in which they are closing the gap. These are for students who barely failed a class last semester. They are working during pull-out during elective time to make up that work so that they can pass those courses. Also, there is a proactive team going and intervening with the students who are just missing work from this semester. So if they have missing assignments, they're being pulled out proactively and receiving tutoring and support to get that missing work completed. Finally, there are, in terms of credit recovery, there is an all-day credit recovery option that we have kids enrolled in, and Tillman has been very proactive terms of getting kids into that who really needed that support. So students are working diligently there, and that option continues to be available. Starting after this break, we will be offering ACT interventions to different grade levels, not just juniors. We've been working with juniors since December on ACT interventions, but now we're going to be moving into math and reading interventions for sophomores and even for freshmen potentially. And again, focusing on ACT skills that students need to master for ACT. Virtual students at Tillman can come in every Wednesday, and there's actually in-person tutoring for virtual students. And we actually, Tillman has a regular 45 to 50 students attending that tutoring. And that's exciting, because I think we're really gaining some momentum there. And finally, social worker Randy Wyatt at Tillman continues to make home visits as needed, continues to reach out to students who may not be engaging. At Paducah Middle School, every administrator and counselor is assigned to a team, and they've really drilled down on building a system of supports for kids who are missing assignments. That is the number one reason, both at the high school and at the middle school, for student failures. And so at both schools, as you can tell, have really focused in on solving those particular problems. And what that means is that, you know, there is a daily and weekly effort to identify students who are missing assignments, and then team meetings with parents. Those are virtual meetings most often. And then tutoring on Wednesday, just like the high school, for virtual students who are in need. And in fact, they've even brought a few students back an extra day based on need for intervention. And so they have also used, just like Tillman, they've used elective classes to pull kids out for missing work, to work on missing assignments. And they've also, just like Tillman, they have a new social worker at Paducah Middle School her name is Shay Tyler, who's worked at Paducah Middle School for a few years, but now is in this new role. And Shay has done an amazing job of going home visits, to visit families and to engage students, to ensure they're actually getting their work done and that they have the things they need. And so Paducah Middle School has also done a great job in terms of providing training for parents and tutors, community volunteers on how to use Microsoft Teams and how to help middle schoolers access the digital resources that we have. Internet hotspots continue to be delivered as needed, and those, again, are available to kids. If their internet goes out, we can step in and ensure that there's no break in service there. At Choices, everything, of course, is individualized, and that is still true during the pandemic. We have a number of students who are coming in person based on need. And there are even some that come 4 days a week, especially those who are about to graduate or who need a little extra help in terms of making progress. And so the Choices staff is, again, reaching out individually and meeting those needs individually, making a plan for each child based on their personal progress. At the elementary levels, we have Clark, McNabb, and Morgan all offering after hours tutoring in different types, and some of that is live, and some of that is virtual, and some of that is in person. And all three schools also are ensuring that students have devices, and in fact, we've been able to purchase a few more devices just in the past week that will go toward elementary students. And those devices should fill a few remaining gaps that we have. and get us really close to every student having a computer. Our FRIS coordinators continue to make home visits as needed, and we are now even bringing in virtual students as space allows into the school. Dr. Finsky is even running extra bus routes, personally driving extra bus routes to bring kids in for virtual tutoring. And so the virtual students, as they come in, they sometimes receive academic interventions, and sometimes they are just getting help in general, maybe a structured environment in which to work. Finally, the elementary schools have doubled their efforts in terms of passing out hands-on materials to make school a little more like elementary school normally is. So whether that's paper copies of assignments or just hands-on manipulatives, which for elementary students are often very important. And I want to highlight also our continued partnership with Oscar Cross Boys and Girls Club. The Oscar Cross Boys and Girls Club has partnered with our elementary schools this semester to provide virtual learner in-person support, so that Oscar Cross staff actually provides a safe, supportive space either at the Boys and Girls Club or inside school buildings, inside the elementary schools, depending on the school and the need. But the Oscar Cross staff helps us provide in-person tutoring for virtual students. This tutoring focuses on core subjects, and it also involves a weekly trip to the Innovation Hub Makerspace. And you can see a picture there of Mr. Snarden with some Boys and Girls Club students who have come in. And this is really exciting for us, because this has allowed us to increase the number of virtual students who are getting in-person support in a way that works for everyone. It works for the families of virtual students. They're comfortable with the setting, and for us, it's ideal because they are getting the support they need and the environment they need to succeed. So a lot of exciting things going on. I just again want to really thank our staff for going consistently above and beyond this year to meet the needs of students, and doing so even as the situation is constantly changing. And so I'm very proud to be part of this team of educators, and looking forward to continued improvement as we meet the needs of kids moving forward. So, any questions from the board?
Thank you, Will. Is there any question coming from the board? I have one question. Do you
sorry,
also meet...
I can't hear you, Dale.
Okay.
I think you're still muted.
Yeah. Do you also meet the needs of the nutritional needs of students, of our students outside the district? Did you hear that?
I'm sorry.
Okay, let me go right
There's a
after
little
you.
bit of an echo there, Dr. Okoji. Do you mind repeating that?
Yeah. Do you also meet the nutritional needs of our students that are outside the district? Because we're talking
Yes,
of
Oscar.
driving 2 or 3 miles out of the district. Do you also do that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I really appreciate food service. Sorry, I'm echoing here. 1 second. I appreciate both the transportation department as well as the food service department. They have partnered since with Cross Boys and Girls Club to provide necessary transportation to students, as well as food, breakfast and lunch for the students. Also, in general, even if a student is working from home, there is regular meal delivery for those students. Even if they're at home every day, there is a way for them to get school breakfast and lunch every single day.
Yeah, well, I understand, but do you have to drive, sometimes have to drive 5 or 6 miles outside the district to do this?
Good question. So they have drop points in different locations around the city. Most of it is so they're not necessarily going to each individual student's house to drop a meal, but there are published regular stops throughout the city where kids can, or sorry, not just kids, parents can come and get their children meals.
Okay. Thanks, Will. Is there another question? Is there another question from the board? Madam Secretary, will you please call the roll?
Dr. Koji?
Yes.
Ms. Hancock?
Sorry, I couldn't find my mute. Yes.
Ms. Howard?
Yes.
Dr. Hudson?
Yes.
Items 4.0. Hearing of individuals and groups. We would like to hear from the audience regarding items on the agenda and items not on the agenda.
Okay, we have Chiffon Winston. Chiffon, you have the floor. You can unmute.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good evening, board members.
Good
Thank
evening.
you so much for this opportunity to speak here tonight. My name is Chiffon Winston. I am a parent and an employee in this district. I'm against adjusting the calendar to bringing students back this early. My concern is, will we as a district be able to afford to follow the CDC guidelines? I completely understand the reasoning of wanting our students back to in-person instruction, but it is too soon. Yes, vaccinations are available, but they are not guaranteed to keep you from getting COVID. We have educators that have been vaccinated, but our students have not. In bringing students back so early, we will see a surge of cases within our students. Our students are the most crucial factor here, but what about the staff? Educators don't feel appreciated or valued because we have given our all during this pandemic, and it still feels like it's not enough. The staff's workload has doubled to make sure our students are successful. If our teachers, parents, and students could work together as a team, our students would flourish. All the responsibility should not solely be on the educators. Parents and students have the responsibility to complete schoolwork as well. I feel that we should stay on a hybrid schedule until May, including continuing present tutoring opportunities. Then in August, try to come back to a normal school schedule. I humbly ask that you reconsider adjusting the current school schedule. Again, I thank you for the opportunity to express my concerns.
Thank you, Ms. Wilson.
Winston.
Thank you, Ms. Winston.
All right, we also have Mr. Jay Venable. Mr. Venable, you have the floor.
Can you hear me all right?
Yes.
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 Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Was not expecting to speak. Can you hear me? We got an echo?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. I I sent a letter. I hope everyone had an opportunity to look at it over. I tried my best to put together in several sections things that are important that, in my opinion, why we should seriously have these children back in school full time. We're moving in that direction quickly all over the country. I think there's more evidence that I could have put in there, but I didn't want to make it too long. But I do appreciate your time. I hope if you have not had a chance to read over that or look over it, let me know. My email's available. My phone number's available. Really can't say any more in the board meeting than what I've said in the letter, giving it a lot of thought. And I hope that the board will seriously consider these students. I don't think the fear factor is what it was several months ago. As I put in that letter, the statistics and the data, I've looked at that extremely often, several times a week. The student and the teacher infection rate with COVID has not changed over a period of several months. I think you all have done a marvelous job in getting everyone prepared with plexiglass, hand sanitizer, masks, social distancing. Now that social distancing will be an issue, but as I said in the letter, there are some schools that are going back now. So I'll just end it by saying I hope that you will seriously consider bringing the kids back to school. I think there are a lot of emotional, psychological, physical issues that are going on that these kids need to be being interacted with their fellow students and especially the teachers every day consistently with some kind of routine. Thank you for your consideration and feel free to contact me by phone or email.
Mr. Venable, we really appreciate your input.
Thank you. I hope you all did get my letter and we'll, okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there any question from the board? Madam Secretary, will you please call the roll?
I don't think we need to do that. We can go straight to the consent.
Okay. Item 5.0, consent agenda. Is there any other question from the board? Is there any other input from the board to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
Motion approved by Ms. Howard. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion seconded by Ms. Hunter. Is there any question from the board? Madam Secretary, will you call the roll, please?
Dr. Koji?
Yes.
Ms. Hancock? Ms. Howard?
Yes.
Dr. Hudson?
Yes.
Item 6.1, action items. Action item 6.1, contracts. The superintendent recommends that the Paducah Board of Education approve the contract with University of Kentucky College of Education, Dr. Gregory Vincent from the UK Education Civil Rights Initiative for $15,000, and Dr. Roger Cleveland and Dr. Ross Akins from Millennium Learning Concepts for $2,400. They will serve as consultants in the district racial equity initiative. Is there a motion from the board to approve item 6.1?
I'll make a motion that we approve the contracts with the University of Kentucky College of Education.
Motion approved by Ms. Howard. Is there a second?
I second.
Motion seconded by Dr. Hudson. Is there any question from the board? Madam Secretary, will you call the roll, please?
Dr. Koji?
Yes.
Ms. Hancock? Ms. Howard?
Yes.
Dr. Hudson?
Yes.
Item 6.2, new supplemental position. The superintendent recommends that the Paducah Board of Education approve the request to create a new supplemental position of transitional student food services as requested by Lindsay Bonhill, Food Services Director. This additional position will include a stipend of $10,000 to be paid from the Food Services Fund 5.1. School Services Fund 51. Is there a motion to approve item 6.2?
I'll make a motion that we approve the new supplemental position.
Motion approved by Ms. Howard. Is there a second?
Almost second.
Motion seconded by Ms. Hunter. Madam Secretary, will you call the roll, please?
Dr. Koji?
Yes.
Ms. Hancock?
Yes.
Ms. Howard?
Yes.
Dr. Hudson?
Yes.
Item 6.3, new supplemental position. The superintendent recommends that the Paducah Board of Education approve the new supplemental position of assistant volleyball coach at Paducah Middle School with an annual stipend of $750. Is there a motion to approve item 6.3?
I'll make a motion that we approve the new supplemental position of assistant volleyball coach at Paducah Middle School.
Motion approved by Ms. Howard. Is there a second? Motion seconded by Ms. Hancock. Any question from the board? Madam Secretary, will you call the roll, please?
Dr. Koji?
Yes.
Ms. Hancock?
Yes.
Ms. Howard?
Yes.
Dr. Hudson?
Yes.
Item 6.4, student accident insurance renewal. The superintendent recommends that the Paducah Board of Education accepts the bid from Roberts Insurance for the 2021 to 2022 school year in the amount of $72,892.40, presented by Angela Copeland, Director of Finance. Is there a motion to approve item 6.4?
I'll make a motion that we approve the bid from Roberts Insurance for the student accident insurance.
Motion approved by Ms. Howard. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion seconded by Dr. Hudson. Any question from the board? Madam Secretary, will you call the roll, please?
Dr. Koji?
Yes.
Ms. Hancock? Howard?
Yes.
Dr. Hudson?
Yes.
Item 6.5, payment to contractors, BG 17-179. The superintendent recommends that the Paducah Board of Education approve the payments to contractors for the Innovation Hub BG 17-179 as outlined below. Ray Black and Son, $105,264.44, and Baking Farmer Workman Engineering in the tune of $520 and $694.25. Is there a motion to approve item 6.5?
I'll make a motion that we approve the payments to the contractors that were just outlined.
Motion approved by Ms. Howard. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion seconded by Ms. Hancock. Any question from the board? Madam Secretary, can you call the roll, please?
Dr. Koji?
Yes.
Ms. Hancock?
Yes.
Ms. Howard?
Yes.
Dr. Hudson?
Yes.
Item 6.6, change orders number 26, number 27, and number 28. Paducah Innovation Hub BG 17-179. The superintendent recommends that the Paducah Board of Education approve the following 3 change orders for the Innovation Hub project as outlined by Matt DeLucia, GRA Architects. Change order 26. This is a time-only, non-cost change due to necessary site revision to avoid flooding, and to avoid flooding. Sorry, and change order 27 and change order 28. Do I have a motion to approve item 6.6?
I'll make a motion that we approve change orders 26, 27, 28 as outlined in item 6.6.
Motion approved by Ms. Howard. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion seconded by Dr. Hudson. Is there any question from the board?
Just kind of nice that there's some no charge change orders for a change.
We worked hard
You know
on
what I
ensuring
mean?
that. That's the
Yeah.
the slope of our front here where our parking lot is where that first one is coming from, so we had to reslope that.
Well, Madam Secretary, will you call the roll, please?
Dr. Koji?
Yes.
Ms. Hancock?
Yes.
Ms. Howard?
Yes.
Dr. Hudson?
Yes.
Items 6.7, change orders number 2 and number 3, art building renovation, BG 20-166. The superintendent recommends that the Board of Education approve the following 2 change orders for the Innovation Hub project as outlined by Matt DeLucia, GRA Architects. Do I have a motion to approve item 6.7?
I'll make a motion that we approve change orders number 2 and number 3 for the art building renovation as outlined in item 6.7.
Motion approved by Ms. Howard. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion seconded by Ms. Hancock. Is there any question from the board? Madam Secretary, will you call the roll, please?
Dr. Koji?
Yes.
Ms. Hancock?
Yes.
Ms. Howard?
Yes.
Dr. Hudson?
Yes.
Item 6.8, payment to contractors, BG 20-166. The superintendent recommends that the Paducah Board of Education approve the following payments to contractors for the art building renovation project. Pay app number 3 to Ray Black and Son for $162,765.91, and there are other direct purchase orders payments. Do I have a motion to approve item 6.8?
I'll make a motion that we approve payments to the contractors for the art building project, renovation project, as outlined in item 6.8.
Motion approved by Ms. Howard. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion seconded by Dr. Hudson. Is there any question from the board? Okay. Madam Secretary, will you please call the roll?
Dr. Koji?
Yes.
Ms. Hancock? Ms. Howard?
Yes.
Dr. Hudson?
Yes.
Item 6.9, property acquisition. The Paducah Board of Education approved the acquisition of the following real property by eminent domain for the location of the new Paducah Head Start Preschool, BG 20-236, pending final approval by the Kentucky Department of Education. Do I have a motion to approve item 6.9?
I'll make a motion that we approve the property acquisition for the new Paducah Head Start preschool.
Motion approved by Ms. Howard. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion seconded by Ms. Hancock. Any question from the board? Madam Secretary, will you call the roll, please?
Dr. Koji?
Yes.
Ms. Hancock?
Yes.
Ms. Howard?
Yes.
Dr. Hudson?
Yes.
Item 6.10, bid for geothermal test, Paducah Head Start, BG 20-236. The superintendent recommends that the Paducah Board of Education accept the bid of $7,800 from Durbin Enterprises, Inc. for the geothermal testing of the Paducah Head Start project. Do I have a motion to approve item 6.10?
I'll make a motion that we approve and accept the bid for the geothermal test from Durbin Enterprises for the Paducah Head Start project.
Motion approved by Ms. Howard. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any question from the board? Madam Secretary, will you call the roll, please?
Dr. Koji?
Yes.
Ms. Hancock?
Yes.
Ms. Howard?
Yes.
Dr. Hudson?
Yes.
Item 6.11, Payment to contractors, BG 20-167. The superintendent recommends that the Paducah Board of Education approve the following payments to contractors for the secure vestibules projects. $769.88 to JRA Architects for professional services, $22,694.58 pay to contractor MP Lawson. Do I have a motion to approve item 6.11?
I'll make a motion that we approve the payment to contractors for the Secure Vestibules project as outlined in item 6.11.
Motion approved by Ms. Howard. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion seconded by Ms. Hancock. Any comment or question from the board? Okay, Madam Secretary, will you call the roll, please?
Dr. Kobe,
Yes.
Ms. Hancock, Ms. Howard,
Yes.
Dr. Hudson.
Yes.
Item 6.12, 2020-2021 school year calendar revision, discussion and possible action.
Good evening, everyone. Wanted to at least discuss this openly and publicly from a standpoint of where we're at and where we're going with this school year's calendar. Listed as this, if the board chooses to make action tonight or want to do additional follow-ups or special sessions to discuss this. As you heard tonight from Mr. Black, he did a great job of outlining our virtual option as we got the executive order in December from the governor. It requested we go back in the most restrictive hybrid version we could. And so that's why we offered an at-home learning for all 5 days a week for our students. In addition to that, we offered 2 days on a hybrid schedule for 2 different groups. So some students come Monday, Tuesday, some students come Thursday, Friday. And as Will walked you through the additional tutoring options at the high school, at the middle school, at the elementary schools, at our alternative school, relative for students that are just virtual students, also our partnerships with that, or for students that if it's a blue day and you're a tornado student, how you can get tutoring after school, or sometimes the way one of our elementary schools is doing it actually in the school day. And so a lot of credit goes out to what our faculty and staff are doing to ensure that our children are having access to the curriculum at school. And I would want to brag on our teachers. We chose in August, and this is obviously a monumental task, and I think they've done a great job with it, and we're getting better all the time. But the idea of not giving virtual students, our students when we have to be, we weren't allowed to be in school based on the health department in the fall, of providing our Paducah Public Schools teachers access to students that are at home. It's not a platform. Some other districts have chosen to do that, and so our teachers have gone way above and beyond, as well as our instructional assistants, to ensure our students have access to our curriculum. And so with that, we have right now roughly 33% of our students that are choosing the at-home option, or chose the at-home option for this semester. Which puts it right at 67% of our students that are attending 2 days a week. There are waiting lists because we have held tight to the 6-foot spacing, obviously the mask and the other pieces of the healthy school guidelines. We also have families that have kids and students coming 2 days a week that would like them to come 3 and 4. And we have faculty and staff that are asking for some of the students coming 2 days a week, hey, we need to see you more. And so that's where we are up to this point. In discussion with the state superintendent meeting last week, the Commissioner of Education reminded us as superintendents across the state that if you offered a virtual option, you could go 5 days a week, provided you follow the Healthy at School guidelines. For us, on the 6 feet, we've tried to ensure that we're providing a healthy atmosphere for our students to learn in, but also with that to ensure our faculty and staff are not exposed or have the 6 feet guidelines, so you don't have to quarantine. And so we have held strong with that since August. And as we've started our vaccination protocols, we had our first vaccination for our faculty and staff that chose to do that on February 10th. The second round would be next week on Wednesday, February the 24th. And so with that, that doesn't make it, honestly, that doesn't mean we can go back to the way it was. But that does provide, we had about 250 employees take the first round of the vaccination, and that should get that next Wednesday. We have roughly 450 employees, so it's about 58% of our faculty and staff that have taken the vaccination. And so with that second round is the 24th. Everything that I've read says that, and even in the executive order, that we need to wait 7 days after that, which would be March the 3rd, to think about bringing students back to where you might be less than 6 feet. One of the things I would stress is our Healthy at School guidelines, the expectations. I've had a lot of families ask me this because we have held to the 6 feet. It does say on page 7, increase space between students by rearranging seating to maximize space between students to be 6 foot or greater. But it also goes on to say that after, if the physical space in the school does not allow for spacing students desks 6 feet apart, space desk as far away as possible. All desks should be arranged so students' seats face the same direction. Use of cloth face mask is a safety expectation for all students and staff at all times, as we know. And so from the standpoint of me bringing this up, or us putting it on the agenda, I guess, for discussion, is what has changed for our faculty and staff is access to the vaccine. That has not happened, for the second round yet. But at least the conversation of what are we going to do as we go forward past that, I think needs to be had and discussed amongst the board with that. And so another thing that is of interest that I want you all to think about too is the research shows that we have a more illness after the second round of vaccines than you do the first. And so relative to, I guess, the symptoms for those 2 days. And so we take the second shot on a Wednesday, as we scheduled that out with the health department and Baptist Health. So that is February the 24th. So one of the questions I would bring up is, should we have NTI days on the 25th and 26th to protect against illness that would come from the second vaccine? As Mr. Black shared, we only have 2 sub-bus drivers at the moment, and the second one became eligible last Monday. And so tremendous job by our faculty and staff and our transportation department, our food services you've seen, to ensure our students are coming to school and are being fed and have an opportunity to learn. But there is the side of what's the stress on our students and our families with only coming 2 days a week, and with that, the learning loss that's happened and is continuing to happen with only multiple days or a few days of school, even with all the tutoring we're offering, additional anxiety, emotional toll that's there. And so it's not a clear-cut answer on what to do with that, but I wanted to bring that up for discussion if you all have questions or next steps from that standpoint. And so hopefully I outlined that relative to, I think you heard that tonight in our input on items on the agenda. I think there's a significant group of families that would like to see their children in school more than 2 days a week, and I think there's other families, and maybe that's significant too, that would like to see their students stay on the hybrid schedule. One thing I will stress is, regardless of what schedule we're doing, we have to offer the virtual option going forward. And so last week, I believe it was Thursday, we sent something, or I sent a letter to our parents letting them know that there would be this discussion and on what our next steps are or what we're thinking as we go forward. And so listed it as possible action in case that you want to take action tonight, or if we want to study this and think through it going forward. So, but with that, I would tell you the earliest possible day that I could see us expanding or adding to the number of days a week children come, which would cause in certain areas to relax the 6 foot. We'd still be masked, still be as far apart as possible. Would be 7 days after the second shot would be March the 3rd. That's a Wednesday. I would feel better if we started that on a Monday. That next Monday is March the 8th. And so when could we realistically do that would be March the 8th. I would tell you with still a significant number of families that are virtual only, and our teachers are leading that, I would think we would need 1 day a week still to focus on those virtual students. So that gives 20% of the time to focus on roughly 33% of the children, which is not where we want to be. We want to be in school 5 days a week with every child that we have. But questions, comments, concerns, thoughts?
You said the last shot is March the 3rd?
The last shot is February 24th. The second shot
February
is February 24th.
And after February 24th, you
yes.
need about 2 days
There,
for...
well, the complications from the second vaccine,
Yeah.
as you read the research, are more significant than the first. We had a few employees that were ill after the first shot, and a few days that they had to take off for sick. With 250 potential, second shots coming, that is a concern of mine relative to the calendar as it's written. Those would be in person for tornado days. So we would have a third of our students roughly there those 2 days. We will make that happen as best we can. If those aren't NTI days, but it's one of those, as you think through that, the research shows we're going to have a lot of, I think based on the numbers, a lot of, what that a lot is, I don't know yet, of employees that could be ill after that second shot on the 24th. The 7 days after that gets you to March the 3rd,
Okay.
that I think you need for the vaccine to be, I don't know the right word here. Where's Dr. Boone? Ms. Howard, you might be able to say this better than me, but everything we've read, and even in the executive order, if you have a medical reason to be working from home right now, it is 7 days after the second shot before you're allowed to come back. And so that would be March the 3rd, which is a Wednesday, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so why are we going to March 8th?
That's a Wednesday. What I was saying is if we were going to go to 4 days a week, which is what I would recommend if we change to go to 4 days, not 5, that would be the first, that'd be a Monday in the week, and would just be easier to start the week that way.
Okay.
Instead of Wednesday, March the 3rd, starting on Thursday, March the 4th. But that's the preference. I did talk to our principals in each building relative to what their input was. I think there's, hearing from them, they have a lot of our, they've heard a lot of, we would like to see children more than 2 days a week. But obviously I want to give Ms. Winston, who spoke earlier, there is an aspect of do we need to do that yet? And so that's why it's to come back more than 2 days, so a week.
What does the board think?
Okay, I don't know if you hear me.
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, could you mute yours if yours not? Okay, is that good? Okay, is that better?
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Cody, thumbs up. Okay, good, perfect. I just wanted to offer my thoughts really quickly on going back to school, and first of all, echo Dr. Childley and Mr. Black's sentiments as far as our teachers going above and beyond. It is remarkable what these teachers have done over the last year to keep these kids morning until 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And their teachers do everything they can to keep them engaged. As an 8-year-old, can you imagine? I mean, keeping an 8-year-old engaged all day academically is so difficult. Keeping middle schoolers engaged all day is extremely difficult. These teachers have gone above and beyond to get their students the appropriate education. So thank you. If I don't see you, please know that I thank you so much for all that you're doing, administrators, for all that you're doing to keep your teachers in top-notch shape. Ms. Winston, I understand your concerns as well, as far as that it is not solely the teacher's responsibility to take these students back, and that parents and students need to take on the responsibility as well. And I can tell you from the parents that I've had conversations with over the last year, they've taken on a lot of responsibility as far as continuing to hold jobs down and work with their students. They've really pivoted in a lot of different ways. The one benefit maybe from this pandemic, there's several, but is that from now on, I feel like you all have the support of parents more than ever. We see the work that you do. We admire what you do. And I hope that it will bring parents to the school more and get parents more involved in their child's education, because it's crucial. I am 100% in favor of getting these children back to school 4 days a week. I think they need it, not even academically, but there's one that Mom leaving out the door. I think they need it academically, but I also think they need it emotionally more than anything. So I'll be glad to answer any questions. If you want to email the board, email address in the future, but I think these kids need to be in school. I think these teachers want them in school, and I will do anything to make it possible. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments from the board? It's not a motion.
How do you all want to, I guess my question would be, how do we want to proceed going forward as far as our school calendar?
You're still muted.
My apologies.
Hootie, so my question to the board is the guidance relative to what to do with our school calendar going forward. Do we stay here? Is there a motion to change what we're doing? In addition to that, I do have concerns about in-person learning based on the second shot on February 25th and 26th. And so if that's something you all want to do tonight, it's written so that we can do that. Somebody would need to make a motion. If that's something you all want to table and come back and have a special call meeting at a later date to look at, we can do that too. Yes, sir.
I'm not sure if you can hear me. I hear the echo, and the sound was delayed, and some of the things you're saying I don't hear clearly. Let me just ask this one question. I definitely see the need to get students back in school like we can. Here's my concern. What are teachers saying? Has there been any kind of meeting with teachers in the buildings to get a pulse check as to what they're thinking, what they're wanting?
My conversations have been with our administrators of each building to check in with the teachers relative to that. I can tell you what their pulse of their buildings were. There was, universally, each one of the principals said that they felt like the majority of their teachers would want to have students there more than 2 days a week. Our current hybrid schedule, when we could get to that point. I think there are some thoughts that there are some teachers that might be who might not be in favor of that. I do know in conversations, if you take our elementary schools, for example, to maximize space with children, we're going to have to be a little bit creative and innovative relative to how we have scheduled that, at least at McNabb and Clark. We have a teacher pretty much in each grade level dedicated to the virtual students. Morgan does not have that at every grade level, and thus, if you look at some classes, the tornado group and the blue group, if you add those classes together, it goes above the cap size. So that doesn't mean that, obviously site-based can approve by law to go over the cap size, but we can also assign instructional assistants with one group and the teacher with the other, stream the teacher from one room next door to the other, still keep 6 foot distance, and have 13 in one room and 15 in the other with an instructional assistant that way. I would see us having to do that at Clark too in certain areas, but one of the challenges is space at Clark and classroom space relative to those open rooms. So we would either have to have our virtual teachers, they're doing all-day virtual teaching from home 4 days a week, or find another spot in the building, library, etc., to let them teach from while they're teaching virtual students. Middle school, we'll have some class, where there's not, every classroom is pretty much used. So I would see us having to be less than 6 feet apart. High school, we do have the ability to use some of the Innovation Hub rooms that are empty, such as this one, throughout the day to get more than 17 kids in a room.
Dr. Shively, I'd like to just remind the board of one thing too. This is on the NTI day, the possible guy day. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
On that possible, just to be really clear here, we have a shortage of subs due to the pandemic as well. So buildings they've been covering, absent classes with absent teachers with their instructional assistants and other staff members. I'm definitely, I want to echo Dr. Schlott's concern that, after we have the second dose of the vaccine, it's very common for people to have flu-like symptoms for about 24 hours, 24 to 48 hours. I just want to be prepared for that. If we did not have enough, people to cover the classrooms, we would definitely be in kind of a crisis. So please, I would request that the board at least consider that tonight, so that parents can plan.
But if you started on that March, what was it?
Is it safe for me to?
8?
The parents
March
are
8th.
wanting their kids back?
Then that would give enough time.
They have the option of staying virtual, am I correct?
Say that again, Dr. Hudson. I'm sorry. I think you said if you wanted to stay virtual, you could, correct?
That's what yes.
Yeah, yes, sir. The executive order is very clear about that. And so, again, the Commissioner of Education last week said you could go for all 5 days a week as long as you had the virtual option for families to choose the virtual option.
And what percentage of kids are in school on a hybrid schedule now? What percentage?
67% of our students are coming at least 2 days a week. 33% of our students are virtual only. Based on the 6 foot guidelines that we've tried to follow, in every spot throughout the district, we do have waiting lists at schools that the principal shared with me that are virtual students. And we do have not only parents asking for children to come more than 2 days, we've got teachers that have reached out to me that are asking for students to come more than 2 days a week, saying we need these more than 2 days. So we're trying to make that work, but to really maximize that, which it is, again, it's in the safety school guidelines, we've just held firm to the 6 foot. What makes me bring this up now, honestly, is we've had the opportunity for a vaccine. The second dose is coming, and so we've tried to ensure the health and safety of our employees. Not that this changes it and we go back to like we were before, but it is the opportunity, and I do think there merits to weigh on both sides relative to that, but it's
Well, let me just say this. I think we can to ensure teachers feeling comfortable, feeling safe. But I will say this, I'm worried about our children in terms of their learning. Being an educator, I realize that virtual has been what we have to do, but there's nothing that can replace in-person instruction. And I'm wanting to see us try to get our kids back in school, and more so extend it from the hybrid the 2 days to 4 days, because they do need, our children, I think, are really missing out when they're not in the classroom.
I agree wholeheartedly with you on that, and we have to do that safely. So if there's a decision tonight for a date coming up, then that, starts us on our planning mode to what that looks like relative to every classroom in each school, and what we have to do to ensure success of and safety of children and adults.
What are we agreeing on tonight? What do we want to agree on tonight?
Well, I think somebody, if we're going to agree on something, I think somebody needs to make a motion on the school calendar to adjust it. Excuse me, Mary Hunter? Sorry.
I'll be happy to make a motion based on the criteria you listed as far as the NSP days beginning March and May. If all work for okay with it.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Can I say this just to make sure I've got it clearly, and so we have it?
Yeah.
And Nicholas, let me know if we need to do this differently. But what I think I heard you say, Mary Hunter, was the 2 days after the second vaccine. Sorry, the virtual versus option here. I could never learn that way. The 25th and 26th would be NTI days based on taking the vaccine, the second dose on the 24th, and to go to 4-day-a-week in-person instruction starting March 8th.
Yeah, and I'll obviously leave the virtual option to
Okay. Ms. Chapel, you good with? Okay.
Motion moved and seconded. Any other question from the board?
Have we made a motion yet for March?
Yes.
Yeah, we just made a motion. Miss,
I can hardly hear.
Miss,
Focus on my video is focused on Mary Hunter, and I can't see the board. I'm not even sure what's going on. And
Miss Hancock made a
Can
motion.
you hear me now?
I can barely hear you.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Now I'm trying to see the board. Okay.
Okay, I would like to make a motion that we move February 27th, February 26th, TI day, and start some instruction with the complete virtual option for the students who would like to choose on March 8th, based on our district tax schedule.
Okay.
And the motion was seconded by Ms. Howard. Dr. Hudson, did you hear that?
I heard that. The thing is, I'm concerned is this. I want kids in school. I want kids in school. But I want to make sure that we have talked with teachers and got input and found out what they want. That's important to me. That's important. And I'm sure we've done a good job with that. I want to make sure that base is covered. Yes, I have 4 kids in school, 4 days a week. I want that. But I want to also know what the teachers are feeling and saying. That's important.
help if we survey teachers?
I think we should. I really think we should. In all fairness, there, I realize that I'm looking at what other schools are doing. They're going back to school. I'm doing a pulse check as to how things are going across the nation. But I am simply saying this: as much as I want children back in school because I am concerned about their learning and they need to be, I also think there's a factor that we have to consider. What are our teachers saying? And we need to survey them to find out. Because here's a concern I have. If we bring our kids back March 8th and teachers are feeling uncomfortable, what kind of setting is that going to be? We need to make sure that we got people on board, not just 2 or 3. And trust me, I'm not trying to make it difficult. I want kids in school. That's what I want to see. But I also want to be sure what our teachers say. And we need to do some sort of pulse check, some sort of survey, something to really hear. Are they worried about having a social distance? Are they worried about, I know we've done the vaccination and all that. I just feel like we just need to make sure we find, before, I just feel like we need to consider all buildings, all teachers in the buildings and what they're saying. That's all.
Do they not participate? Can you hear me?
I don't think it's, yeah.
I hear you.
I think there's been a motion made and seconded. I think that motion would have to be voted on and or one amended by Mary.
I realize the motion made, but I will say this. The technology is not working in my favor. I can barely hear. I'm not getting even a clear picture of the board. Honestly, had I heard it, I would have said something earlier. But if the board chooses to pass it, note that I definitely, said, I abstain.
Well, it sounds like you and I having a conversation because I can't hear anybody else talk to me.
Yeah, Dale, you're muted still.
We're muted because we're not speaking at the moment. And to stop the echo.
I think you need to,
But am I correct in the motion has been seconded? Then you need to either vote on it or Mary needs to amend hers to follow Mr. Hudson's request.
Well, I'm exactly sure where we're right now. This is Nicholas Holland. And the motion could certainly be tabled at this time, or chooses to. I don't think that a vote is absolutely required.
No, maybe not, that's correct, but anyway.
so, I think that leaves that to you.
So,
It's first and
it's
second.
certainly the board's prerogative to vote. I would say that if James doesn't feel like he could participate at, he may not be fully within the community break. Work periods really requires that they have adequate ability to participate. I don't think James also. He would care.
Nicholas, can you say that again one more
May not
time?
be appropriate that if he can't, because he can't. Just
President Down, whatever Nicholas said, I did it one word.
Nicholas, can you restate what you said, please? Mr. Holland?
I'll try. I think, given that James is experiencing difficulties hearing maybe everything, it's probably not appropriate for you to take action if he doesn't feel like he's adequately able to participate. Under the guidelines that the Attorney General has issued regarding virtual meetings, virtual attendance, he needs to be able to hear and respond in a way that he feels adequate in order to act on this item. It sounds like he's lost that at some point during this conversation.
Could we just table the motion?
If we do that, then, oh, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Then the day you're wanting to start, the March 8th, will be changed, correct?
Would be or wouldn't be?
It would be.
It wouldn't have to be. I mean, we could,
But if we,
I was saying the first date I would feel comfortable based on the research on the vaccine would be March 8th.
but what I'm saying is our next board meeting
Would be
after that.
unless we have a special called one.
Okay,
Yeah, we could do a special called one.
okay.
Yeah, we can do a special.
I mean, we could survey our faculty and staff. I think we probably need to survey our parents and guardians too, is how I would go about doing that. If it pleases.
I'm sorry, Dr. Shannon, I think we can service different stakeholders, parents, teachers, all of that group. And then after we've done that, let's call a special board meeting, discuss, and then make a plan. We have enough time between now and March 8th to make sure that happens.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, well,
We'll get on that tomorrow.
okay, what do I do with the motion? Do I
So
vote?
to stay in order, I think we either need to take a motion to table or we can vote the motion down.
Motion to table or motion to vote is. So Nicholas, we need to ask for a motion to table. Go ahead.
Yes.
Mary Hunter was making that.
Sorry, either I'll make a motion, we table the motion to include the February 25th and 26th NTI days and begin for Patterson instruction on March 8th until further clarification.
All second.
So she motioned to table until we could have a special call meeting.
Yeah, Ms. Hancock has made a mention to table. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Ms. Howard seconded. Any question or comment from the board?
Would it be possible to pass the NTI portion of it, just those 2 days?
You could, I think let's have a roll call vote on tabling this motion and do that as a. If James can hear you.
You said something, tabling something, it breaks up, that's all I can tell you.
Sure. James, the proposal is to table this motion, that's the current motion on the floor. And then to propose a separate motion just for the NTI days, February 24th or 5th, I think, whatever the motion.
Okay, that's fine, that's fine.
Okay, do we vote on it now?
So, yeah, somebody would need to make that motion is what I think.
After we vote on tabling this.
Yes.
I need to take a roll on
Okay.
Yes, we need a roll call on the table first. Table and Mary Hunter's motion.
Madam Secretary, can you call the roll, please?
Dr. Koji?
Yes.
Ms. Hancock?
Yes.
Ms. Howard?
Yes.
Dr. Hudson?
I think I'm saying yes to the right thing.
Yes. We're tabling it.
Yeah.
Yes, and then I think a motion for the 24th, or excuse me, the 25th, February 25th, 26th to be NTI days is what Will brought up, to have a motion for those to be moved to NTI days with us, hopefully having a special session.
We moved February to February 20th to NTI days for the team that vaccinated all the week.
Moved the 25th and 26th to NTI days because of the vaccination.
I'll second.
Motion seconded.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other question from the board? Any other comments or question from the board? Madam Secretary, can you call the roll, please?
Dr. Koji?
Yes.
Ms. Hancock?
Yes.
Ms. Howard?
Yes.
Dr. Hudson?
Yes.
Gotcha.
Okay, we have concluded all the items in our action items, and do we have any cause to go into executive session?
I do not, unless you all do.
Okay. No? Okay. Is there any motion to move for an adjournment?
I'll make a motion that we adjourn the meeting.
Motion approved by Ms. Howard, seconded by Ms. Hancock. Any question or comment from the board? Madam Secretary, will you call the roll, please?
Dr. Koji?
Yes.
Ms. Hancock? Ms. Howard?
Yes.
Dr. Hudson?
Yes.
Are we adjourned?
Yes. Thank you, Felix.
Thank you.
Yes.